So today, we're going to learn how to pop a tart. Some blueberry poppable tarts. You know, that's a thing. So we're going to learn how to pop a tart. Now be mindful, if you will, that I have not popped much of anything since my last video, which I might add was sensational. I'd like some background music for this. The most important thing to keep in mind when you're popping Pop-Tarts is to plug in your toaster. You'll have a plug that might look like this, and if it does look like this, and if you live in a different country that has different kinds of adapters, you're going to need to buy a separate piece of hardware that I don't have handy. But regardless, if it does look like this, you know, you just kind of want to plug it into a hole that kind of looks like this would fit in. There you go, well done. So this is a toaster that I have access to. It has settings. If you watched my program on how to cook a bagel, then you'll know how toasters work, which is the whole point of that. Anyway, I started the video with a video of how to look at a box of Pop-Tarts, but once you're done looking at the box, eventually you'll open it and you'll find these packets inside. And they can be opened like so. You maybe grab each side and just rip in opposite directions, and I got some opening. Then you could grab each side and, you know, fully open the top. But you might not want to, like, rip the sides, or else if you really wanted to keep one of the Pop-Tarts in there, it might go stale. So now that the top is open, I only want to cook one Pop-Tart. I don't really like Pop-Tarts that much, but they are vegan, I think. So if you're a vegan, that's cool. Taking one Pop-Tart out, the beautiful part of Pop-Tarts is their simplicity and their flavor, I suppose. So you take the Pop-Tart, you plug in your toaster, which looks like this. Like, really, you gotta know that much. Sorry, let's just get the music going again. No! No! There we are. Yeah, you take your Pop-Tart and you put it in one of the holes. If you wanted to cook 2 Pop-Tarts at a time, and they come in packets too, it might be a good idea to preserve the freshness of the Pop-Tart to cook them in the intended packet of 2, but I don't really want the Pop-Tart. I'm probably going to trade it for something else. Anywho, this isn't my toaster. I don't know how it works, but as you may know, toasters can have different settings. The higher it is, the more crispy that Pop-Tart's gonna be, and the lower it is, the less crispy that Pop-Tart will be. So I've never used this toaster before. I'm gonna put it at a medium setting and just hope for the best, really. Now, there may be some difference in inserting the Pop-Tart lengthwise versus widthwise. If you insert it widthwise, and eventually it pops, it's going to be harder to take out. You're more likely to burn yourself. Again, that can be counteracted by lifting the lever with one of your hands, if you have 2 hands, and then pulling it out with the other hand. But if you put it in lengthwise, then it's just not going to be difficult to take out at all. So I'm going to put it in lengthwise, and you know, the toaster goes down, so it might be fine. We'll see. What the I plugged in the wrong thing. I've misled you. I'm sorry. This is the true plug for the toaster. I plugged in some sort of machine that I can't even recognize. So let's plug in the toaster, and then when you pull down this lever, which all toasters will have, if your toaster doesn't have it, please respond to this video. I'd love to know. Oops. Pull down the lever. Now, to me, it seems that the top of the Pop-Tart is just not going to get cooked as well. So I'm going to cancel this transaction and put it in sideways, because I know how to take out a Pop-Tart sideways. You just lift the lever. So let's try that. And now the Pop-Tart is cooking. It's at mid-speed, and the toaster, mid-cookedness. The toaster should know what that means. Unfortunately, the toaster is not intelligent enough to know to only cook with one side. It can't really detect that there's only one Pop-Tart in there, so it wastes some electricity trying to cook another thing that's not there. But, as I stated, I really don't want the other Pop-Tart. So the Pop-Tart's in there. Eventually it's going to pop, and I'll be back by then. Now, if you didn't eat one of your Pop-Tarts and you opened it the way that I demonstrated, then maybe fold it a little bit. Maybe fold it over itself a couple times. I'm just speculating, but this might help preserve the freshness of the Pop-Tart. I don't think Pop-Tarts are meant to expire in any, short amount of time. But, if you were to reduce the excess of air to the Pop-Tart, then folding it and even putting an elastic around it so that... Damn it, it popped. So that it stays closed is probably going to help preserve the freshness. So, what you may have heard was the Pop-Tart popping. Here it is. That's hot. I'm gonna pop it again though, because it doesn't look very toasted, but it was hot. I'm sure it's fine to eat. I just want to give y'all a chance to view the popping of the Pop-Tart. Now, I can't stress it enough. When something pops out of a toaster, it's probably going to be hot. Don't touch it with your hand like you just saw me do. Maybe if it's toast, that's fine. But a Pop-Tart is a dense thing, and I don't know the science of a Pop-Tart very well. But, yeah. Don't do it. It'll hurt my finger, and I don't want it to hurt your finger, because you're a human, and I wouldn't want that. Yeah. So that Pop-Tart popped pretty quickly. I imagine it'll do the same. I didn't change anything about its settings. It should pop in the almost exact amount of time that the earlier Pop-Tart popped in. So, while you're popping your Pop-Tart, you might want to grab a plate or a bowl and put the Pop-Tart in once it pops. I have just grabbed a bowl because I don't know where the pop plates are. So that was the Pop-Tart popping. Now, you could lift the Pop-Tart and then grab it. It probably would have been better to do lengthwise. Even lifting it, I don't want to put my hand there. It's really hot. So what I'm going to do is pick the Nope, the toaster is very hot. I would have picked up the toaster and dumped it into the bowl. But a warning about that, if you were to pick up a toaster and dump it into the bowl, then you're probably going to get a bunch of crumbs that were sitting at the bottom of the toaster from having popped earlier things. And that's probably not what you want, so I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know where any cutlery is in this kitchen, so I'm going to take a fork. And since let's make sure that the toaster is unplugged before shoving a fork in it, because otherwise it might electrocute you. Like, that's just a bad thing. But now I don't think it's very capable of electrocuting me. Maybe it is. You can see. So I'm going to stab my Pop-Tart through and put it in my bowl. And, there's really no other step to preparing a Pop-Tart. You could... no! You could put peanut butter on it, but it's not something I would think to do. If you might see that the bottom of the toaster is my delicious front of my Pop-Tart. Tragic, right? Anyway, that's how to toast a Pop-Tart, and I hope you learned. Good day.